Hi, my name is Scott Simmerman, and what I want to do is tell you about the moose joke. It's a joke I've been used for closing workshops and training sessions for a long time. It works great. I think it's one of the best closing jokes, stories, anchor points I can share. What I try to do is link the story to key learning points, and these are generally customized to desired outcomes of the client. But the general framework, or it's about continuous progress, or what I call continuous improvement. That not everything we do is a success, but we need to view things as successes and celebrate successes, and that generates more successes. And I often talk about my square wheels and round wheels, and the key is to involve people. So, so I'll present this. Basically, I'll talk about these key learning points, and then I'll ask the simple question. So, would you now agree that what we've been talking about is a lot like hunting moose? And I pause and let people kind of play with that, and they look puzzled. So then I, of course, define a moose as a large horse-like animal that lives in cold climates with antlers, and like their puzzlement is one of these funny things that I think they don't know what a moose is. Not that they're puzzled about my question about if it's a lot like hunting moose. So what we'll do is we'll talk. Then I'll tell them a story, and I don't usually illustrate this with slides, but we have the slides, so I'll share them with you. Um, so these three hunters, they love to reminisce and they love to go hunting. And every year they arrange to go somewhere, and they decide they're going back to Alaska, and they're going to go hunt moose. And they make all the arrangements, and so they rent this float plane. They go back to the same lake they were at the year before, and they unload the gear. And the pilot says, "Okay, I'll be back in 3 days." And sure enough, 3 days later, the pilot comes back to the place, and he taxis up to the point, and the men load the gear, and the men begin to put one of the moose on the plane, and they tie it down, and the pilot claps his hands and goes, "Okay, let's go." And the men look at each other puzzled, and "Let's go, what do you mean let's go? We have two more moose." And at this point the pilot says, "Well, based on the length of the lake and aerodynamics and lift and this horsepower of this plane, and the weight of you guys and your gear, I think we can only take off with one moose." And this causes a discussion among the men. Basically they say, "Look, same plane, same kind of plane exactly, same lake, same temperature, same gear, same us. We took off last year with three moose. The only difference is pilot." And they argue some more. Finally, the pilot goes, "Oh, okay, let's try it. Load them up." So the men load up the gear on the plane, and the pilot taxis the plane down to the very far end of the lake. And at this point, what I do is I walk way over to one side of the room, and I put my arms out like I'm a plane, and I said, "Pilots, the men pull the plane back into the muck as far as they can go," and especially if I've told them the mud joke stuff. So they pull the plane back as far as they can go, and the pilot starts the engine and revs it up all the way, and the plane's shaking, and I shake my arms. Then the pilot yells, "Let go!" And at this point, I begin to walk across the room. And I go, the plane goes faster and faster and faster across the lake, and it gets up in the air. But the pontoons hit the top of the trees. The men go flying, the gear go flying, the moose go flying. After a couple of minutes, one of the guys comes to and looks around. "Bill! Bill!" And Bill's, of course, one of the senior managers in the section. And then I run over to the other side now. "Joe! Joe!" And Joe is another one of the major managers. And I run over to the other side again. "Bill! Bill!" And back over. "Joe!" Back over. "Bill, where are we?" Run back over. "Joe!" And I look around. "Looks like about 50 feet further than last year." So then I come back and I say, "So now would you agree that what we've been talking about is a lot like hunting moose?" And I come back to my key learning points, and I talk about the fact that, we can't expect success from efforts to try to make improvements. All we can do is expect to go 50 feet further than last year, get up in the air, probably going to crash, feel successful, do it again, do it again, do it again. It's a journey forward. And I talk about the fact that there are lots more than 50 feet that we can involve and engage in the effort. We got to get them all aligned and working in the same. So I use these cartoons as a tool to talk about the issues involved in the implementation of the kind of training we're doing. So if we're talking about square wheels and round wheels and opportunities for improvement, or if we're talking about team building and using Lost Dutchman and talking about the issues involved in trying to get more collaboration and alignment in an organization, it's a really good way to set up discussions of that. Um, and then lastly, I quit on this kind of thing, having fun out there and looking for opportunities to make a difference. I sometimes set up the moose joke with this comment. It's the world's longest sentence of 2-letter words. If it is to be, it is up to me. It's about personal choice. What you choose to do differently is the key to making continuous improvement continuous. Or if not you, who? If not now, when? So the moose joke is a great joke, and I hope you like this. You can embellish it many different ways. There's all kinds of anchor points to it. It's just a great story about hunting moose. So I love to play with these these kinds of metaphors. I got stuffed animals and the like. If you use this joke, I would really appreciate it if you would attribute it to me. It's just something I've been doing. It's part of my ownership kind of thing for the last zillion years. And then lastly, just tell a story. Have fun out there. I hope you like that.